Good afternoon, Scarlet T3 Live. Welcome to today's early recap. It is, what time is it? It is 11:51 and I am leaving New York City. Yes, I am. I'm starting the weekend early. I probably will be in the Short Hills office to see where things are at for the close, to figure out how I might want to position into the weekend or not position, because as of right now, things just don't look that compelling to me. I keep looking through all the charts and there's not anything that's so like I need to own this. There are a few things that are trading well. There's definitely some patterns that I like. But overall, it seems as if, the jury's somewhat out on what's next. I guess a lot's going to have to do with, the yes vote or the no vote or even how we handle it. But overall, this week has been kind of, weird as it is. Like every time we've closed week, we gap up, and then I think there's a stat now that we've closed 9 times below where we opened. That means if you bought stock in 9 of those days, pretty much in any of the indices at least, that after the open you probably were lower at some point. And so I guess if you want to buy the close and sell 9:31 and close your eyes that nothing bad happens at night, then you can do that too. But that's not the risk metrics or the system that we use. So anyway, I'm going to take a first look at the chart here of the SPX. And at this point, we didn't have like such a blockbuster move higher. Like this is this 3-day move just to retest this moving average. Doesn't seem like that the bulls are snatching up stock or that anyone's in that much of a rush. You look at what all the bears out there are pointing to, and it does have some validity. This head and shoulders pattern. Okay, so if you look at it this way, there's a few different ways to look at it, and it's not a perfect science. But a lot of people were thinking that this area, not the tails, was the neckline. So you had to push lower, and right now, what did we do? We kind of retested it. We could have got up to this high too and pushed the envelope a little bit, which we still might. Who knows? Who knows how we close, and who knows, what kind of gap up we have or gap down on Monday. But overall, you look at this pattern here, and it broke this upper support, okay, and now it's testing, more of the 200 days. So it's kind of in this spot where, anything almost could happen. You just went from minus 40 on the oscillator to almost 0, so we're not oversold anymore. So we could pick and choose which way we're going to go. Okay. Every other time that we've had, these type of bottom moves where we've taken off from it, even when they failed, like here was a bottom move. Look how he zoomed up. Here is a bottom move, zoomed up. And I'm trying to just look at different, and then obviously here, this V bottom. Okay, but so for now, all we've really done is, we've broken, obviously, this one spot. And remember, we were talking about the descending channel right here, which we broke above, squeezed some shorts, probably baited in some longs, and then broke below it. So at this particular point, this is telling me to be neutral. Okay, neutral, maybe even a little bit neutral to negative, but I'm not going to go out short into the weekend. It just means I'm going to have less risk. Because you also look at the IWM, the Russell, right? The Russell right now is actually making a new weekly low. Okay, so let me get this out of the way. What does that mean? It means that one of the leaders that just made a new high here that failed to hold it, and even here, remember we talked about that engulfing day, right there, that could have got you out, is now basically making, a low. It's breaking below this little trend here, and it's a lower low to the weekend or to the week, where I just showed you that you have the S&P above, okay, right into here, and then you have what has provided some leadership, breaking below. So that's a little warning sign. Maybe it comes back above. It's only 11. Actually, what time is it? It's 11:56. Just so you got to, it's not the end of the day. But at this point, spending a lot of time on the right side of that. And then you go to the bios. Bios aren't as weak as the Russell, but it too, you had your, you had your move off the 50-day. It came back and retested where it couldn't hold higher, like right around here, and a little inside action. It's not horrible action. It's just not a lot of power. You could say it's sort of healthy that oops, sorry, hold on. Let me just that it held a little bit higher, which it did. Okay, let's take a better look here so you can see it a little bit bigger. Okay, so it did hold here. So I think if it holds here, this is still, you know, acting better than I guess what I just showed you with the Russell. So this is, you know, the Russell is negative. This is neutral to negative. Okay, we're just, yeah, neutral to negative. The XLF, weaker today. You know, this too, spending time on the right side of this channel break. This broke right here, came back up, it's on the lows. You know, you lost the 8-day, you lost the 21-day, which is our method of getting out of things. Okay, you could have got out when this happened here too. We had that wide range bar. You know, remember we looked like we were flagging, ready to take out the highs, and then that day happened. So that could have been your out right there. And now, you know, you're not sure. So it's on the right side of the channel. It's got to pop back up usually when you're on the right side of the channel fast in order to show, you know, some decent action. You know, and then you go to the leader, Goldman. It too, you know, you had your, you had this trend break here. You had your small rally off support, pretty much back into the trend, and now it's red again. You know, people would say this is somewhat of a bear flag, right? Here's your pole, here's your flag, breaks below this. You're going to see more downside, and that's Goldman Sachs. You know, typically one of the strongest banks. Let's see what JP Morgan looks like. Very similar. Look at that. JP Morgan broke this trend right here. Okay, kind of retested it, and now you have a pivot here that if it breaks below, you're going to see some lower prices. So that's another neutral to negative. And then you go to Apple. You know, Apple, I've been calling it nothing special for a few weeks now, and I think some people are actually even shorted, whatever you want to do here, but overall, this channel has just been a lethargic mess where you haven't had to do much. Last time I really threw in the towel on it was right here when you had that potential day one when Carl Icahn was saying he thinks it's the best idea, same as Netflix from 2 years ago, etc. And it couldn't do anything, so that got me out. And at this point, you know, it also is kind of on the right side of this channel and just a little weaker and out of play. So someone's selling into the buy programs. So with that said, you know, you don't need to be in a rush to buy that. Google also, you know, it's below the moving averages. You had this fake out move right here, came back in, now it's holding here, and just, you know, not much going on in Google. Still in this longer term channel, so maybe the market's waiting for something, but overall, not doing much. Amazon, the same thing. You know, just hanging out in this channel where you have 3 and 5 minute charts to make money, and that's really it. I guess you could say it's wedging somewhat again here, so maybe there's something coming up soon. But if it's to the downside, we'll see it. If it's to the upside, I guess we'll see it. Maybe it'll need, you know, it'll take earnings. In social media land, Facebook, you know, started off weak, came back up. You know, so I still think this is best in breed status. So if you had to be long something, you know, being long Facebook is definitely better than a lot of other things out there. At some point, perhaps, you know, it takes this out, and then you have the highs. Twitter. Not much here except for that it is trying to hold this bottom range. Some guys are in it from this red dog reversal here. Okay, then you had a little higher low, then you had a decent day this day, and it's actually kind of holding half of it. So maybe there's something here to the upside. I bought options for next week just in case there is something going on in here. It looks like someone like some kind of activist is accumulating it more than, you know, the potential of a takeout now, but we'll see. Either way, guys are over trading this a little bit, so I wouldn't. One of the rock stars is Fit. Look at that move. Wow. Sperlin's been trading that one really well. Pivot 1, pivot 2, pivot 3, and now it took out that high. I would not be shorting this. If anything, you know, buy the dips, and it's moving fast, and it's actually rewarding some people. You know, Tesla. You know, at this point, as I said earlier on, I'm like, it's going to be hard to buy, hard to short, and if you're in it because it's been following the 8 and 21 days as a swing trade, you know, trim and trail, okay, and hopefully you did so, and it's on its way back to the highs. You know, Citron came out with a negative report. We'll see, you know, what effect it has on it, but at this point, a little bit extended from all these moving averages, so just be a little bit careful. I actually made some cute money shorting it, so if you're on the VTF, you saw that, you know, it was a short on the open, and I think I covered into this, or actually no, somewhere around here. Yeah, I think into this. You know, tail played it to break here, and then covered there, and that's that. Still hanging in there for a Citron report. MBLY looking good still, I think. Still long it. Didn't have enough power to break above this, you know, 550, but I think it's still building. It's taking its time and getting a new platform here. You know, you had a nice trade here, nice trade there, and now you have another pattern building. Let's hope it hangs around here. I do think that it's something to stay with. And getting close to the end. I was thinking about what song to play, but I'm not going to come up with one right now. It's been a short week, but it feels like a long week. I think that there's been a lot of you know, headlines that everyone's been worried about, whether, you know, people are still worried kind of about, you know, China and the Shanghai, like what's going to go on next. 22% off highs, and it's still not finding any support. Some think it's the NASDAQ of 5,000 where the bubble just burst there and it's going to get really crushed, and some think that we're probably very close to a tradable bottom for a move back up. You know, it's still up 20% for the year, I think. You know, so giving back half of it, you know, after a big move from last year, it's not, you know, so out of whack. So we'll see what happens there. And then, you know, we have Europe with this Greece back and forth, and, you know, going on for actually 5 years. So it should come to a head, and we'll figure that out. But it's a somewhat of a coin toss. I can't give you my opinion on whether they vote yes or they vote no, or whether they're going to leave or whether they're going to stay. I think no matter what, we're still going to hear about them, and hopefully less. I guess if it were me, you know, I would take a stand and I would leave, and I would go back to the drachma, and then this way people could come there and buy their goods for cheap and tour there and have you know, visitors and tour, like, you know, right now you can't. The euro is still pretty high price, where if you go to vacation in Greece, it's not cheap, you know. And then you talk about, you know, what they want as far as, you know, the other members of the European Union. They don't have the same benefits as Greece, or a lot of them don't. They don't get the retirement pensions that they get. They don't get the hourly, you know, wages. So if all of a sudden they're going to keep giving them money so they retire better and have a better quality of life, and then they're working, you know, 6-7 days a week, it's just it's a weird dynamic. So I don't know enough to talk about what's going to happen. I do know that the ECB has been in place for a while, and I don't think it's the same type of response that we've had way back when yields spiked and we were really worried about whether the union would break up. I don't think just because Greece leaves, you know, Spain, Portugal, Ireland, because I think they're actually doing better. So it might be, you know, it might be specific to them. So we'll see. Let's just, you know, look at what the markets are doing, and let's go back to this SPX one more time, because more time has gone by. And just so you remember, it is 12:05, and you look at the chart. It looks like, you know, again, a retest of this broken area. They tested this trend line. You know, I wrote down resistance 1, 2, and 3 to start the week. This 272-ish or 274 was resistance 1. The way we got that was, you know, connecting these dots. And basically, it made it to almost 2. You know, this was your resistance 2 zone, so it wasn't even strong enough to get to there. And then I said that if the bears have any control, they'll negate prices there. So, you know, not much of a big move. Back in the day, this would all happen in one day when we had the pace of purchase, and they would, you know, people would try and fade it open, and they'd get, you know, out to the woodshed. So it definitely is a little weaker, and I guess rightly so, considering what's going to go on this weekend, and we'll figure that out. So whatever you do, you don't want to be uncomfortable this weekend. You don't want to be obsessively long, where you're thinking about it all weekend long, you're looking for headlines all weekend long. And the same thing if you're going to go out short because you think the patterns look weak and something bad's going to happen. Don't go out too short also, where it, you know, is going to make your weekend very stressful, and when you don't need that. You know, you could take what makes you feel comfortable, that if, you know, we open up and you're short, maybe you could reshort more into those bigger resistances. Same way if we open up down, you're in stocks you like that could potentially go green, that you have a thesis for, you know, and that you have levels to buy that you might have to either hold and salvage or buy more and, you know, and get better prices and make money that way too. So just whatever you do, make sure it fits into your game plan, it fits into your risk, and it doesn't control your cabeza for a July 4th weekend that should be a lot of fun, because before you turn around, the summer's over and you need to enjoy yourself. So again, this is a recap at 12 o'clock. The market's not closed. So at 4 o'clock, if you're watching this tonight, things could be a little different. So we'll see what happens. At this point, things kind of feel lethargic and weak. We've sold off into resistance. There's some signs that, we are weaker than stronger, but we shall see. I'll tweet a little bit at the close to follow it up. Have a great holiday weekend, and see you soon.